nerd who lives in Tucson, Arizona's suburbs. He's been mowing lawns all summer to save money for a telescope. He strikes a deal with Cindy Mancini, his next-door neighbor and popular cheerleader, at an appropriate time. She had taken her mother's beautiful suede suit to a party without her mother's consent, only to have wine poured over it. Cindy reluctantly agrees to make Ronald look cool for a month in exchange for $1,000, which would be used to replace the wrecked dress, despite the fact that she already has a boyfriend, Bobby, who is a University of Iowa student. Then, under Cindy's instruction, Ronald trades his nerdy but loyal buddies for the popular but shallow classmates, and gets a total makeover. They form a bond with one another through time. Cindy has Ronald read a poem she wrote in private that means a lot to her. Ronald, in turn, demonstrates his fascination with astronomy and space travel. Cindy begins to have serious feelings for Ronald on their last date, which Ronald paid for, and she indicates that she would like to kiss him, but he misunderstands. They plan a breakup in front of a crowd the next day at school, but Ronald goes too far and says some cruel things about Cindy in front of her friends. She maintains her cool and distant demeanor, but warns Ronald that fame is hard work and that he must remain true to himself. Cindy witnesses him acting arrogantly at school the next day, and she becomes envious when she sees him flirting with her best friends Barbara and Patty. Ronald brings Patty to a school dance, where he performs a dance he learned from an African cultural event on public television, which he mistook for the most recent dance trend on American Bandstand. The other kids are initially perplexed, but they quickly join in, and Ronald's new stylish dancing boosts his popularity even more. On Halloween night, he and a group of jocks travel to Ronald's best friend Kenneth's house, where the jocks force him to hurl dog poo at Kenneth's house. Kenneth is waiting for Ronald and catches him, but before his father can contact the cops, Kenneth lets him go. Kenneth dismisses him at school the next day. Ronald starts drinking at Big John's New Year's Eve party and has a love tryst with his date, Iris, in the restroom. Cindy passes by and overhears Ronald recite Iris' unique poetry. Cindy, distraught, begins to drink even more. Later, Cindy's boyfriend, Bobby, comes up at the party unexpectedly. Bobby breaks up with Cindy after learning of her relationship with Ronald. Cindy tries to explain to Bobby that Ronald hired her to seem as if they were dating, but he doesn't believe her and walks out on her. Cindy confesses the truth about her and Ronald to the partygoers in a drunken frenzy, and Ronald is immediately shunned. He leaves, dejected, and spends the night weeping himself to sleep in his garage. When school restarts, he is shunned by both the jocks and the nerds as a social pariah. He is thwarted in his attempts to reconcile with both Cindy and Kenneth. When Ronald observes Quint, a jock, bullying Kenneth after observing Kenneth helping Patty with her math homework, he sees an opportunity to redeem himself during lunch. If Kenneth does not return to his side of the cafeteria, Quint threatens him with physical harm. Ronald steps in and threatens to break Quint's pitching arm unless he leaves Kenneth alone. Quint fractured his arm when he fell out of their treehouse when they were 9, and Kenneth and Ronald carried him 12 blocks to the hospital. Ronald admits that he was desperate to get in with the popular set, but that he had made a mistake by attempting to buy his way in, unlike Kenneth, who was really interested in Patty, that the clique dynamic is nonsense, and that it is difficult enough just being yourself, and goes away. Quint apologizes to Kenneth and the two shake hands as the rest of the school cheers. With the help of his friends and Cindy, Ronald is able to make amends. Cindy recognizes Ronald's value and opts to spend the evening with him rather than her companions, hopping on the back of his riding lawnmower. After that, Ronald invites Cindy to prom, and they share their first kiss. This is where the movie comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, until next time.